I almost didn't go. Family reunions in our family weren't reunions. They were quarterly earnings calls with potato salad. The invitation had been worded warmly enough, "It'll be so good to see everyone. We're all so proud of how the kids are doing." That last part was the hook. The kids. We were all in our late 20s and 30s now, but somehow still case studies. I knew how it would go. Someone would ask about investments. Someone would mention real estate. My aunt would bring up her son before anyone else could. She didn't disappoint. We were 20 minutes into iced tea and polite updates when she said it, loud enough to redirect the table. "My son has a real career," she announced, smiling as if generosity were radiating from her. "He'll be a millionaire before 30. Unlike some people who are still figuring things out." The pause after "some people" landed in my lap. A few cousins glanced at me, then at their plates. My mother gave me that tight smile that meant, "Let's not make this worse." I felt the familiar warmth rise in my face. Not anger, recognition. I had been figuring things out since college. When I left a stable consulting job to start a software company with 2 friends, it had been described at Thanksgiving as face. When the first year produced more losses than revenue, it became a lesson. My aunt never missed a chance to frame her son's job at my company as charity on his part. "He took a risk on a startup," she'd say, as though he'd adopted us. Across the yard, he stood near the grill, half listening. He looked uncomfortable, but not enough to intervene. I sipped my drink. Humiliation in families isn't loud. It's layered, it carries history. It brings back science fair ribbons no one asked about and job offers that were called cute. I could have corrected her immediately. Listed numbers, named investors. But I didn't want to compete on her terms. So I waited. Eventually my uncle, who prefers facts to drama, asked casually, "So what do you do these days?" There it was. The room quieted, not dramatically, just enough. Forks paused midair. I set my glass down. "Not much," I said lightly. "I just signed his paycheck last week." For a moment no one reacted. It was too simple to process. My cousin, her son, looked up first. Our eyes met. He gave the smallest nod. Not permission, confirmation. My aunt blinked. "What do you mean?" "I mean I run the company," I said. "He works on our enterprise sales team." No edge. No smile. Silence moved outward like a ripple. Someone near the end of the table let out a soft, surprised "Oh." My uncle frowned slightly. "You're the founder."
Yes.
My cousin cleared his throat. "She is," he said. "She always has been." There are moments when power shifts loudly, arguments, raised voices. This wasn't that. It was quieter. Structural. The story my aunt had been telling required me to be uncertain, drifting. The new information didn't attack her, it dismantled the premise. She laughed once too brightly. "Well, that's wonderful. Why didn't you ever say?" I thought about that. About every holiday where I'd tried to explain funding rounds only to see eyes glaze over. About being advised to get a real job while building payroll for 30 employees. "I didn't think it needed saying," I replied. She straightened in her chair. "You could have told us you were doing well." "I am doing well," I said. "And so is he." I gestured lightly toward my cousin. I wasn't interested in diminishing him. He worked hard. He earned his salary. He also earned his autonomy from his mother's narration. Conversation resumed, unevenly at first. A cousin asked about the product. Someone else asked how we handled growth. The questions were different now, not indulgent, but practical. My aunt grew quieter. I didn't feel triumphant. That surprised me. For years I'd imagined this reveal as a kind of fireworks display. Instead it felt like correcting a spreadsheet. Later, while people moved toward dessert, my cousin approached me. "Sorry about that," he muttered. "You don't need to be. She likes to project." He hesitated. "You didn't have to say it like that." "Like what?" "Calm." I considered that. It wasn't about her, that was the truth of it. Public humiliation had always hooked into something inside me, a need to prove, to counter, to win. But standing there, Watching the story adjust itself without my anger, I realized I didn't need applause. I just needed accuracy. When I left that evening, my mother walked me to my car. "You could have told us," she said gently. "I tried," I answered. "You just preferred the version where I was still trying." She looked at me then, not critically, not proudly. Just looking. "I suppose we underestimated you." I shrugged. "That happens." Driving home, I replayed the afternoon. The heat of the comment. The stillness of the response. The shift. I hadn't crushed anyone. I hadn't embarrassed my aunt beyond what she'd constructed herself. I'd simply refused to occupy the smaller space she'd assigned me. Public humiliation can shrink you if you let it. Or it can clarify the edges of who you are. I didn't need them to see me differently. I just needed to stop agreeing when they saw me wrong. The rest adjusted on its own.